1.9%, and driven by a better-than-expected 2.9% rise in consumer spending. Here to give us the explanation of the growth and what it means for the Fed decision due out in less than 2 hours from right now is David McIntosh. He is president of Club for Growth, coming to us from Washington. So, David, on the one hand, it was a nice surprise. It was more than we thought, but it's also less than 2% now, certainly less than the 3% that was targeted. What is driving all that?
Yes, great to be with you, David. I think the driver here is the continuity of the expansion that occurred in 2017, or after 2017 tax cuts, really in 2018. And we're seeing that slowly taper down, but still in a very good direction. It's almost 2% growth, much better than expectations. Now, when you look at the private sector, which is what we focus on, it was negative growth, but improved from the previous report. And there's a couple, you pointed out one of them, couple good messages there, and that's consumption continues at a very strong pace. And then I looked at the housing or investment in that sector, and that pivoted from a negative to a positive 5.1. So it's a report that is stable, and within it, a couple of very good signs, I think, for the continuity and continued growth in the next quarter as well. Now, what that says to the Federal Reserve, I think, is that they can be cautious about rate cuts. They're not driving by it. Right. The other factor that's been present for the last 2 quarters has been the instability in trade, and we're seeing some improvement in the negotiations with China. But frankly, here in Washington, it's working against the trade, where the Democrats in the House have made it pretty clear they're all about impeachment and not about passing the USMCA, the free trade agreement in North America, which would give us a great boost to economic growth into the next quarter.
So, David, you raised 2 things there. Let's take them in order. First is the Fed. If they cut today as expected, 25 basis points, that'll be 75 basis points since they started the cuts. Is that enough, or do they need you to do more than that?
I think that would be sufficient, and I think they could even signal we're going to wait one more meeting to do the 3rd cut if they wanted to, and see what the next series of reports were. I know, there's going to be political pressure, cut more, stimulate the economy that way, but this GDP report and the other statistics are showing we're at a nice level playing field, and the real problem, pivoting to the other question, is that the political uncertainty and the fact that the trade deal can't pass through the House.
Well, let's talk about that, trade specifically. Before we get to USMCA, which is Canada and Mexico, let's talk about China, because now we have Chile canceling the APEC. Apparently, the White House is saying they think they can go ahead with the phase 1 signing anyway. Is that your expectation, and how much help will that give the economy?
It is my expectation. I think there's been real momentum there, and you're going to see both China and the Trump administration want to move forward. I think it helps signal to the economy there won't be tariff increases, and a lot of businesses were saying we've been able to survive so far, but the next level of increases would have a big impact on an industrial investment and some of the economic factors that are trending more negatively. So there's a good reason to do it, and I think it would have a positive impact if they're able to continue with that phase 1.
So let's go to that USMCA, the successor to NAFTA. From what you say, it sounds like you think that will not get through Congress as long as the Democrats keep pushing on impeachment. Is that right?
I think that's right. They've signaled very clearly it's all about impeachment. That's all we're doing. I think we've kind of reached a level where the facts have petered out. They don't really have any new news there, and they haven't convinced people that the president should be impeached. But their base, their very radical liberal base, says, no, we have to impeach the guy. And so Nancy Pelosi is kind of stuck. Even if she wanted to help with the economy, she'd suffer political consequences in her own party. And some of the people are probably telling her, nah, don't do it. Don't help Trump get a win, or don't help him with the economy. Sadly for the country that they're making that calculus of putting politics over what's good for the country.
Okay, David, always great to have you with us. That's David McIntosh. He is Club for Growth president. He's coming to us from Washington. Up next, we're going to have more details on the stock market and how it's fared under various